It's good morning, R.D.K Marjoram. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good morning for you. It's evening for me. We're in different hemispheres. You're coming from the
Yes.
UK. Congratulations. Your book, The Tree debut novel, is out now. Tell us all about it.
Well, Cliff Notes version. It's about a tree, funnily enough, but it's not just any tree. It's a tree with a soul. So it's an ancient being who lives on a hill, and it spends its time listening to the stories of tragedy and woe from the various visitors that come and share their stories beneath its branches. So amongst its many branches, of course, it has 12 very special branches, which contain the essence of its soul. And what we see as the tree's journey progresses throughout the book is the way that it sacrifices parts of its own soul in order to save and care for and protect some of the people that it comes to really care about. So at first, it sounds a bit like a fairy story with this lovely magical tree. And in some ways, it's a bit like a self-help book disguised as fiction
Yes.
in the first half. But what we then start to see is as the tree gives more of itself, the more contaminated and corrupted its soul becomes.
Mm.
So the stories that are shared throughout the book, particularly from because it's divided into two parts, the second half, the stories tend to get a lot darker, but so too do the tree's responses. So what we see is uh, the rise, this really wonderful, compassionate, loving, and kind being, but we see ultimately the cost of care and compassion, and also why it's a bit of a meditation on some of the more disturbing aspects of the human psyche and the world in general that maybe we don't get to see, and how we can all become in some ways infected by that.
Yeah. And there's themes in this book around grief and healing, compassion and resilience. Um, I'm wondering what was when you wrote the book and you were inspired to write, where did all this come from? Do you want to tell us about that journey?
Yeah, sure. So I actually work as a psychotherapist and a clinical supervisor. That's my main job. And in a previous life, I was a forensic psychiatric nurse in a prison. Yeah, so I've been doing that for about the psychotherapy and mental health side for the best part of 20 years. So my life has been around listening to the stories of tragedy and trauma and triumph of the human soul. So what actually happened was I was a guest on a couple of other podcasts in the UK. Annalisa Barbieri, she does a great podcast interviewing mental health professionals
Yeah.
about various topics. So I'd written some articles around envy, stalking, self-sabotage. So I was invited to be part of her show, which was wonderful. And then I started to write a self-help book, an actual self-help book around envy, which didn't really go anywhere. Um, but for good reason, because
Yes.
actually, as I was writing it, because I didn't want to use any patient identifiable material, I started just to create the stories that I thought actually I wonder how I could use storytelling to convey some of these psychological themes, but also offer wisdom and guidance to people in a way that doesn't feel like I'm telling them what to do, but can be something that they can hold on to, internalize, and I think be more likely to sit with because of the storytelling format. So I so that was sort of part of it, and then I actually hit a bit of a wall myself in terms of I guess my own compassion fatigue and yeah, starting to question, the value of what I do. I was starting to feel quite overwhelmed, quite hopeless and despairing myself. So I just started to, because I was already in a writing frame of
Yeah.
mind, I thought, actually, why just start writing? Just start writing, create the birth of the tree, and trees have a big significance because I love nature.
Yes.
Um, so just being out in mountains or forests, I always felt really calm and at ease and just held by nature.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, gosh, I wonder what it would be like for there to be a sentient being, a tree,
Yeah.
that does this for other people. So I then just freestyled this chapter, the first chapter actually on the birth of the tree, um, and then skipped forward and wrote the 10th chapter, which was a particularly enjoyable one
Yeah.
because it's a chapter about revenge and catharsis,
Yeah.
which I think where I was in my life, that needed to be written. So I
Yeah.
had the first chapter and the 10th chapter. And then when I let go of writing, I thought, do you know what? The Envy self-help book,
It's not
it's
going to
out there in
happen.
the
Yeah.
podcast. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And but there was actually a relief in letting it
Yeah.
go because something shifted, I think, within my own process. And interestingly, I think when you're reading the Tree novel, because the first half of it was written alongside when I was doing the self-help book, I think you will definitely feel that there's the wisdom of the psychotherapist you can see interwoven through the stories. Whereas in the second part, I feel I really find my voice as an author and a creative. And that's where I think those chapters I had a lot more fun with writing in terms of how creative I could be
Yes.
and not feeling so constrained by writing a self-help book.
Yes. Wow, what a journey. I mean, that just makes the book even more interesting because yeah, as an author, you go on this journey yourself and
Mm.
now the book's been published. Do you want to tell us, I'm curious, I know the book's just come out, you're enjoying the success, you're enjoying interviews around the world. Will you keep writing? Like, do you love? Is there more to the tree? Like, what can you tell me about future work?
So future projects. So I think once the tree is coming to an end, I think that will be a standalone book. And I think that was a really powerful and cathartic experience to
Yeah.
launch me into the writing world. But I'm already about 40,000 words into The Hotel, a ghost story.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started writing that in July last year. So so,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
finished the tree,
Yeah.
got all the edits done, and was like, right, crack on
Next one.
with the
Yeah.
next one.
I'm
And
I'm I'm
because
hooked.
I
I'm hooked
well
in
because
writing. Yeah.
yeah, because and it was I think because I really love ghost stories and horror stories, like Susan Hill, Anne Rice, Stephen King. That's what I grew up reading.
Yeah.
So there are some elements of that which are woven into the tree, but because the tree feels more like a spiritual and psychological journey,
Yes.
I wanted to shift my future writing projects more into the realms of still psychology, but also the horror and ghost story elements. So yeah, so I've been immersing myself in the hotel, which is really exciting, and I've
Ah.
got a few other ideas
Yeah.
for
Look, no
some more books
pressure,
coming up.
just a level of
Yeah.
curiosity. I know people message me saying, "Why didn't you ask the author if they're going to write again?" So I often take the leap and ask. So it's great to know that there'll be more books coming. When these books come out in the future, would you come back and share the hotel? And
Oh,
I'd love
yes,
to have you
please.
back.
I would love to come back. I'd love to come back. That would be amazing.
Yeah. And can you share what's the best way to connect with you? So if we're watching anywhere in the world, I'll put in the
Yeah.
show notes how to connect with you, how to connect with the book. I follow you on Instagram. Is there a direction you want to point us in? Like where do we go to learn more?
So Instagram at the moment is my main is the main way that I've been
Yeah.
promoting myself.
Yes.
I recently had another interview in a Nottinghamshire magazine called The Left Lion.
Okay.
So if people want to read a bit more about that, then they can look at the Left Lion think it's .co.uk.
I've got some links to those. I'll put them in as well because
Brilliant.
that's yeah, that was really quite interesting.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. But then at the moment, I mean, I think my email address is on there. If people, because I welcome any feedback, because I think
Yeah.
the tree, it's the sort of book that you can read once, but then return to. And I think depending on where you are in your life or what
Yeah.
struggles you're going through,
Yes.
there will be a different identification with the different themes and stories. So I like to think of the tree as being a bit of a constant companion that
Yes.
will hopefully stay with you that you can draw on. But in terms of where else you might access, I haven't got a
That's
website
okay.
yet.
We will put a connection in how to, with Instagram, just so people are curious. If they're just curious about you and curious about previous interviews, I'll put some links in to make it easy. Um, Great advice. Get the tree, read it, put it on the shelf, bring it out as needed. Sounds perfect.
Yeah,
I know we're going to talk again. I know the hotel will come out at some point when the time's right,
yes.
but it has been a delight to talk to you
Oh,
this
thank
morning from
you.
the UK.
Oh, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'll definitely come back and share my next project with you.
Awesome. All the best.
Thank you.
Cheers.